How do you define yourself as a doctor?
But I go deeper into the nervous system maybe than they do because I'm board certified in neurofeedback and I do both molecular psychiatry. Every symptom is a sign of self-correction.
In younger girls, if you have pain during menstrual cycle,
that is the fault of every pediatrician and every OBGYN who is gaslighting people and they don't understand physiology.
Do you think they do that because they're bad doctors, or are they, motivated by profit?
Yeah. No. I would be dead or in prison if I did what
women power, right to equality. But the way you described it is, it's like, I can be soft and yet powerful.
We are not equal. Here's the reality. We're not equal. We're not the same. This isn't an equality issue. We're not the same. Exactly. This is the reality. Men are fire. I am water.
Welcome. My name is Mohit. I'm with Medical Centric. We're hosting Dr. Stephanie Rimka today. Did I say that right? Is that how you pronounce your last name? Great. So I've been following you on Instagram for a little bit now, and you are what I define as a fireball. You're full of energy. I've seen videos. I've seen you doing all kind of stuff. Let's go back to how it all started. Tell me a little bit about yourself when you were a little kid.
Well, so I'm a 52-year-old woman today, but at times I still feel like I'm 7 or 9 or 17, I think the older we get, it's kind of like, I'm not really sure how I figured out how to do these things. I had to tell my son, honey, I'm still just faking it. Half the time I have no idea what I'm doing. I just sign contracts and I'm a 9-year-old too, half the time, right? So I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan, with a very strong mother under some probably strange, circumstances. I don't ever think much about it, but when I start to, I'm a trauma specialist and I talk about big T and little t, and it took me understanding, I have taken big T's, I guess, big trauma, and turned them into small T's, and I just don't make, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. But, when my mom was pregnant with me, my dad robbed a bank, went to federal prison. So here she was, pregnant with this baby coming. She had 3 children, under 7 and under, and a baby coming, and her husband robs a bank. She was devastated and thrown off by this. She's a very religious woman. My mother actually came from India when she was about 7 or 8. And, just a hardworking, this first generation American kind of a thing. And it was very hard. So I grew up with some tough times. They didn't have much money to begin with, but then it was, welfare and food stamps and a father in prison. And she did not leave him. She stayed by his side. And I grew up like that, doing the best I can. Not the worst neighborhood, but definitely not the best. And fighting with my fists became a way of life. And, but my mother was really, really brilliant. And she found a way to get us into the very rich schools with full scholarships. So I lived on one side of the tracks, with food stamps and government cheese and welfare, Medicaid, and went to school with kids whose fathers had 7 Ferraris and yachts.
Oh.
Right. So it was a very strange place. And visiting my father in prison, I learned to straddle the 2 worlds. And I learned in this world, fists were respected, words were respected over here. So at times I got very confused at which one to use when, but right. I figured it out eventually over time.
There's so much to unpack here. This is not what I expected when I say, tell me about yourself and your background, right?
You're welcome. I don't know.
No, it is what it is, right? Such as life. Detroit, it's changed a lot, right? From when you were a kid to a city what it is right now. Do you visit?
Yeah, I was just there a few weeks ago. My whole family's there. I'm the only one who's left. I'm the only dopamine kind of driven person in the family. let's just gotta go and do things. Everything about Detroit actually kind of the same. We're a city of grit and loyalty. It's a city built on hard work, determination, persistence, severe loyalty.
But wasn't Detroit one of the richest city in the 70s when the automobile
Yeah. So when my mother, no, younger. So I was born in the 70s. My mother was born in 1945. So when she was kind of coming up, it was incredible. It was super safe. It was New York, Detroit, Chicago. And part of that is because it was all part of the mafia line. So when you had prohibition going on, right? To get alcohol, it went from New York and Detroit, Chicago. It was coming from Canada as well. So there are underground tunnels all through Detroit to Canada. So it was part of the drug run, the alcohol run. There's a lot of old mafia, old money. And then you had the automotive industry start. And that was where all the cars, the first street, the first highway was in Detroit. The first cars, right. Things started there, right? And then you had, it was the epicenter of music, Motown. That's all kind of shifted, but the energy of this hardworking, grit, dirty, blue collar work ethic is still there. It still permeates. And we have this, everybody who leaves, I wear so much Detroit apparel. Like even when we leave, we are so loyal. Like, you know how people can talk, like, I can talk about my family, but you can't talk about my family.
Yeah,
you know?
It's always like that.
I can talk about Detroit, but you better not talk about Detroit. Yeah, that's kind of what it's like.
You mentioned your mom was very religious. Did you grow up religious?
Yeah, so my mom was, so I have a very interesting background. It's kind of like people are like, what? So her father was Muslim. So he was Pakistani. So he called himself the Pakistani. So it was East Pakistan, but so now it's Bangladesh, but he moved them to India. They were in Chittagong, southern India. So kind of whatever. But he married an American woman that was kind of like the epitome of success back then, right? The lightest, whitest woman you can find. That would be.
Well, even today, for the most part, people aspire to moving to America, Canada, and find.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So that was for him. So she was a Southern Baptist, and he was, even though he was very proud Pakistani, very proud Muslim, belonged to the Pakistani clubhouse in Detroit, he didn't make my mother become Muslim. And he didn't want her to have an arranged marriage. He was the youngest child of the fourth wife of a Muslim, so lots of kids, like 64 siblings. So his job at 16 was to come to America and basically be the man and send them all to university in England, which is what he did. So my mother became born again Christian. And so my other grandfather was a Baptist minister. And then I went to Catholic school. So I went to church 3 times a week. My mother was born again Christian. So we went to like that church on Sunday. I went to church midweek with school. And then my grandfather, Baptist minister, he's Black. So then it was like Black Baptist culture. Right. So I had this whole thing, even though I was never raised Muslim, I knew the story. I knew who he was. And so I respected all of it. And I was always curious about religion as well. So yeah, my mother, there was like, you walked in our door, it was the Bible was sitting right there, and you turned your head and there was Jesus over the mantle.
And I'm sure you could find Quran in the house if you tried.
Yeah, there was, and it was out of respect to her father, but my mother wasn't raised,
Right, Muslim. Okay, great. You're the youngest of your siblings, right? And you've mentioned you were the worst eater. Tell me what that. How come?
So, I was born in 73. So by the time the 3 of them were closer in age, and I was like 5 years later, like, I'm what?
Right.
What happened? Like, what? I thought we were done, kind of a thing. So like they were in high school together, as you can imagine. And then there was me, like, you got to take your baby sister with you everywhere. So at that time, my mother's financial stress was really hard because high school, she didn't have scholarships. She was having to pay for that. And she didn't want us to go to the Detroit public schools. So she continued in the Catholic private league. And it was really hard. So my mom wasn't really around. She was working 3 jobs, bartending, waiting tables, whatever, trying real estate sometimes. She was doing anything and everything she could to pay their tuition. And I was kind of left to my own devices a lot. Like the youngest, just kind of, so 80s were that latchkey kid kind of thing. We didn't have much supervision. We were doing whatever we wanted. So I was eating Pop Tarts and brownies and like grilled cheese, spam sandwiches. I just had to feed myself most of the time. Yeah. So it was kind of like that. So she did cook. My mother did a lot. But by the time they were in high school, now she's worried about car insurance and what they're doing and dating girls and, and feeding me was not in anybody's big priority. So I was like a TV dinner, mac and cheese kind of a, yeah.
And you mentioned you wanted to be a jockey, right?
Yeah.
At what age was that when you thought, that's the career I'm going to...
I wanted to be a jockey for years, probably 2-3 years old. Like, remember we would watch the Kentucky Derby, TV, and you only watch TV when their show was on. There was no cable. There was no on demand, right? I loved it, and I loved horses. I was always attracted to horses. I have artwork full of horses all over my house today. And, it wasn't something like we did. She took us horseback riding, but that was like a rich person sport. Like, it wasn't like I was going to have a pony ever. Like, we had food stamps. Like, this wasn't happening. This is government aid, right? But I was so into it. I would draw costumes, the outfits, and it was purple and green and my number. And I would do this whole thing. And my brothers one day really got on me after the Kentucky Derby. Like, you're never going to be a jockey. I was like, what are you talking about? Now, I think I was 3 or 4. I was really young. And this was a really big ordeal the first time it happened. And I just kept fighting them about it. But it was about
Why do you think they said that? Because of money or?
Because I was a girl. It was very clear because there aren't.
Right. Yeah. They just thought it's better to tell you now.
Correct. But it was about 7 years old when the full conversation where my mom had to finally be like, you guys have got to stop teasing your sister, stop fighting me. She was like, honey, here's the thing. She's like, you're taller now than most of those men. So she took it. She was like, it has nothing to do with you being a girl. You can do anything. I don't care. You might be the first girl jockey, but you're really tall and you're going to be really tall. So I don't really know if that's going to work out because they have to be a very tiny, light person.
Very short.
So she turned it into you're just too strong actually to be a jockey. That's how my mom framed it. And I was like,
which is a good way of explaining a kid, right? Unfortunately, you're too good for this.
Yeah. But my brothers were in the whole, you're a girl. And I basically we just went to having a fist fight over it because I didn't think that was a reason for anything. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, well, that's stupid. Yeah.
Okay. So, further in your life, you're 16 and there's this soccer game in the snow, right? That's the incident I want to talk about. Tell me about that.
Well, yeah. So Michigan, I'm from Detroit, right? And it's full 4 seasons and it was really cold. And our coach, and I really respect it. I love Bill Ward to this day. I believe he may have passed away. Coach Warden kind of adopted me as his daughter through all of this, through my soccer years. But he was tough and I really liked it. He was all about he didn't want any Barbies running around the field. So although it was even snowing, and we're playing and there's snow, we can't wear any thermal gear under our shorts and our jersey. So it's cold. I don't know if it's 30 degrees and it's very hard to stay warm enough. And again, this is a very long time ago, late 80s, and it's just, my muscles weren't able to stay, warm enough. And it was actually after the game. And what happened is I was too lazy-ish to walk all the way, because it was fenced in, to walk all the way to the gate. And it had a 6 or 7 foot fence. And I decided, I normally do, I'm just going to flip over it. I would just climb and flip myself over the fence. I threw my bag and it was at the top of the fence. My back seized and then I lost control and I fell and hit the ground. That's how their injury really happened after the game. Believe it or not, it was.
And what was the immediate reaction? Were you rushed to a hospital or?
Yeah, when I hurt, I hurt a lot. I was like, whoa, but I didn't think much of it. But it was later, the next few days, it was really bad. And I have a very high pain threshold and I never wanted to go to an emergency room, but I did have to tell my mom, this is bad. Like I can't feel down my legs right. Like it was a thing. So she took me to the doctor and they gave me painkillers and tranquilizers and stuff. That's what they do. And I slept for 24 hours straight. And I missed a game. That was the most devastating. So I couldn't go to school. I missed the game. I woke up like very disordered, like what just happened? And you could see the look on her face, like, you okay? And, she had talked to the doctors, like they said, leave her alone, but it knocked me out so much. I was like, I got to get going. She's like, no, honey. It was like 7 or 8 at night. It was like a night. And she was like, I was like, what? I go, I missed my game. And I was a key player. It was important. I play like they could lose if I was captain and everything. So I'm like, what are you talking about? And it was just like that stuff. I'm like, I'm not taking that again. And she was like, well, I'm like, but I'm not doing it. I go, like pain wasn't as bad to me as not being awake and missing things. So that started a conversation at school the next day where I was like, where were you? I'm like, dude, I was asleep. Like these drugs devastated me. What the hell was that? And that's when my best friend was like, you should see my brother, and that started a whole new thing.
And your best friend recommended you to see the brother.
Yeah, because he was a chiropractor. And
he was a chiropractor.
I was like, I don't know, what's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're 16 and you're now going to go see a chiropractor. What was that experience like? Because even like a lot of people end up living their entire life never seeing a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Right? So tell me about that.
Yeah, it was incredible, actually. So I told my mom, I said, so this is what Naomi said, and she goes, oh, yeah, actually, that's a great idea. You're like, I've seen a chiropractor. I was like, oh, really? It's just like, yeah, when I fell, blah, 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 or whatever. I'm like, oh, so she just did it, injury type of thing. I remember she fell on the ice once at work, and her work, like insurance, she works at the Holiday Inn, and they paid for her to do that. I remember that. She was a bartender, right? And I was like, oh, she's like, yeah. And I said, well, she's this. And that happened to be this time in my life. My mom was, she remarried at 16. And so my stepdad was a Detroit police detective, and we had really good health insurance. She was like, you can go for $7. I was like, what? Like, again, I just also was so conditioned to never go to the doctor.
Yeah.
It was a free
just
clinic.
Very frugal always.
Yeah. And we had to get free samples. So if I needed penicillin, she had to say, I need sample, like, how are we going to pay for it? And they're like, don't worry. They understood this at the clinic. They're like, we got samples. Like I knew the whole thing.
System. Yeah.
The game. I understood the game, and I just didn't want to ever add work or stress to my mother and make me be a burden. But she was like, it's nothing. I was like, she's like, you should go. I'm like, okay. So, I went, he took his x-rays, he talked about the blah, 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 and he started working on me. And, he just poured into me. He was in Keith Khalil, incredible chiropractor, incredible educator. He's still practicing kind of part-time up there. He is the man that, really changed my life, but he took care of me all through high school and then college and everything else. So, but I used it for kind of like sports performance enhancement. Right. He got back out there very quickly.
That's awesome. You've mentioned there was another big injury in your life later in college. Tell us about that.
That was the bigger moment. So I ended up in an emergency room after a college soccer game that night. I didn't know, once again, what happened at the time, because when you're actually playing a game, there's so much adrenaline and cortisol running through you. You don't really feel things exactly how they are. I've played an entire season on a broken ankle. I've had broken bones, broken ribs. You can just play through it, and it's tape it up, kind of a thing. You don't feel it when it's happening. But that night was kind of rough. So I called my coach, and she said, you need to go to the emergency room right now. So I had a concussion, 2 broken ribs, and broken L5. And, I was more concerned about the way that my head was feeling. But it ended up, over the next few years, I was in and out of paralysis in my right leg, losing sensory and motor control, traction multiple times, being told, you're never going to run again. You're never playing sports again. And if you don't be careful, you're not walking again. So it was in and out of hospitals, ERs, and then finally with orthopedic surgeons, I was finally like, I'm done with your story. Take me back to Keith. And so when I started going back, really doing everything he said, I came back, played soccer competitively, played basketball competitively. Yeah.
And then when did you decide you wanted to be a doctor? Like, was there a moment in your life, or was this like an obvious path after you decided, well, it's either sports or like, tell me how that happened.
That was obvious probably at 2 or 3. Like I was
Yeah.
I knew always. I toyed with bug scientist. I wanted to veterinarian or people. I just knew I was here to help. I knew I was supposed to help hurting things, whatever that was. So if it was bugs, I was gathering them. If it was snakes, if it was cats, if it was dogs, I was gathering and trying to help them. Eventually, as I got older, it was people. So if you were being bullied, I was the one going to step in. If someone was messing with you, I was there. If there was something going on in a corner at a bar, I stepped in and started the fight. Like, I'm like, you're not talking to her. Don't touch her again. So I was always doing that. It was very clear, like, that's what I was going to do. And so I don't know, in America, there's only so many, when you're poor, I'm trying to go from poor to being rich because I want to save the family. So you pretty much don't have the doctor, lawyer, engineer. Those are the choices. I just never, for a girl, sports weren't really an option. That wasn't what we were going to do. There was no pro sports option for you back then. Acting and singing, I didn't want to be famous. I wanted to be helpful. I wanted to matter. I wanted to do something. So doctor was very quickly.
What was your degree and what did you study then once you decided, well, this is my career path?
So I started, it's a long journey, but I left the whole medical school thing and I actually did become a chiropractor. And I didn't think that's what I was going to be. And it was just a beautiful moment with Keith. Realizing the impact the nervous system had on emotional regulation. So I was going to be probably a child psychiatrist or an orthopedic surgeon. I was toying between the two fields, which are very different. And I realized what happens with, chiropractors are dealing with, it's pure nervous system. And anybody who thinks it's bone and muscles doesn't understand what we do. And so I finally understood at 22 when he finally explained it to me. I said, well, let me say this. When I finally understood what he had been explaining to me for 7 years, and I was working as a case manager in a psychiatric hospital in Michigan, helping place schizophrenic women into group homes. And it just was this whole aha moment because I realized my whole personality and emotional state, my mental health is completely different when I'm getting adjusted consistently. So I asked him, why? Why am I happier? Why does the world look better? Why is the glass, half full instead of half empty? Whenever I look back now at all the years when I was coming here for months, everything was better. And I go, it can't be about pain. It's got to be something deeper. And so then he really went into efferent and afferent and central nervous system and processing information and emotional output, neurotransmitters. And it blew my mind. And right then I made the decision.
So wait, can you touch on that a little bit? So you're saying if somebody goes see a chiropractor for pain, not only does the chiropractor, well, if they're capable, like Keith, not only can they help with the muscle and pain, but it does adjust something in your brain as well?
Absolutely. I mean, it's direct impact. The spinal cord.
Could it just be, well, I don't want to say could it be, but
no, we have absolutely studies and scientific evidence is showing that input into the system, the proprioception and biomechanics alone, right, deal with overriding information right to the brain. So we have massive parasympathetic and vagal tone stimulation, and it's astounding the difference. So imagine if all the sensory information that's coming in externally and interoception internally going into the brain and spinal cord, your central nervous system, is all dysregulated. So you have bad data coming in, and the CEO and the CPA are trying to make good decisions, but they have all bad data. So how can
Right.
you have good motor output based upon the information's it's filtered improperly? So absolutely, it's astonishing the differences.
And do you think people that go see a chiropractor even know that?
No.
Yeah, that's what I like most. Yeah, most people go in thinking, as long as my back is fixed, I'm out. I'm done, right? Like,
Yeah, but it's up to, so you have like, it's like a triage. It's just anything else. I used to be riding ambulances, EMT in college. It's triage. You have to you have this acute care situation, and some people, that's all they're going to do. Then we have taking them in that chronic state, dealing with them. And then you have the peak performers. You have the ones who are going to be in it to win it. And so I was an acute patient that would go for the chronic, and I would come in and out. And then eventually I became this peak performer to the point I made it my vocation, like
right,
not everybody's going to do that. That's okay. All right. But these are the people then over here who understand. I've been adjusting people since before they got pregnant, while they were pregnant, and the baby within hours of, or minutes of being born. Right. And then their kids the whole time. Like that person gets it,
right,
First thing I did with my son was adjust him. Like I'm the one, he came out of me, and I was the first person to adjust him
right.
as fast as I could. You know what I mean? So that's how we see it, right? It's the regulation of the nervous system, the craniosacral system. You want the cerebral spinal fluid to be flowing. All of this is very, very critical to your optimal health.
You have a vast degree of experience in multiple fields. How do you define yourself as a doctor? Because when I talk to you, when I follow your content, you do a lot of things.
Yeah.
How would you define what exactly do you do to someone in like one sentence?
That's a tough one. I have a hard time with that. But basically, I say I'm kind of a bridge between the ancient principles of nature and modern technology. That's what I am, actually. So most chiropractors don't even see me as a chiropractor anymore. I don't do much of that, but I go deeper into the nervous system maybe than they do, because I'm board certified in neurofeedback and I do orthomolecular psychiatry. So my specialty is autism recovery, schizophrenia, bipolar, borderline personality, trauma, PTSD, ADHD, dyslexia, things like that. So chiropractors send their patients to me. And I don't really do that much manual adjusting anymore. I didn't do that. It's not the thing that lights me on fire. I've done 350 patients in a week. I'd rather see 5 in a day. I'd rather go super deep with someone. And I'm going to deal with the emotional trauma, the psychological issues, the things that are going on in the field, their brainwave patterns or heart rate variability. I look at those things. So my job is to connect someone to their own inner wisdom, to remind them that they are the divine authority, not me, not any other doctor. Stop giving away your sovereignty to another person. But they've been so disconnected from nature, from themselves, from the natural rhythms of life, that I'm there to help remind them and bring them back to remembering that they're divine and they are not broken. So I'm more of a guide and a teacher. To me, that's what doctor means, is teacher. So that's what I'm here to do.
You've said a few times in a lot of your content, the body tells me everything it wants me to know. That might be true for you because you know what the body is telling you. What does that mean for an average person?
It's always telling you. So that is what I'm always teaching people, is to listen. So step one, my foundational principle that I want everybody to reframe, and I think Western medicine has really destroyed this and bastardized people's understanding of themselves, that the body never makes a mistake. Every symptom is a sign of self-correction. Our job is to listen to it and honor it. Instead, the Rockefeller medicine pharma funded way is that you're broken and disordered and deranged, and you should never trust yourself and never trust what's happening. And that's a sign of your body's stupidity and incompetence. So therefore you need drugs and scalpels and radiation and chemo or something to fix it. And I'm like, actually, not at all. Everything is your body is working in your highest and best interest. And that is, if you don't listen to the subtle whisper, you're going to get screamed at, or you're going to get a 2x4 up your head eventually.
Could you give me an example where somebody could ignore like a subtle sign and end up like, I mean, for example, cancer, it just, for most people, it comes out of nowhere, right? Do you think there are signs?
For 10 years, but they take Tylenol all the time. Like, why would you take a drug to diminish pain? They've had period cramps. They've had such bad monthly period pain, like to the point they're in bed for 2 days. They have to take all these drugs to function, but they didn't address it, and they're shocked there's ovarian cancer 10 years later. What did you think the body was telling you? Never drive a car. I have cars, right? You have cars?
Of course.
Okay, great. If a light came on and said check engine, would you keep driving it, or would you go check the engine?
I think the difference here is,
like, think about it though.
I get it. I agree with you. I think the difference is what we see, or what you as a medical practitioner see as a check engine light, is also conditioned to be ignored. For example, in younger girls, if you have pain during menstrual cycle, it's considered okay, and like not everybody is being told.
Yeah, like, whose fault is that?
Well, the society, I guess.
No, it's the doctors. Because I don't ever tell a little girl that's okay, because it's not. That is the fault of every pediatrician and every OBGYN who is gaslighting people, and they don't understand physiology. That's what I'm saying. Western medicine, Rockefeller funded schools.
So my question is,
of the body working right. They teach autoimmune disease is a real thing. No, it's not. No, it's not.
So my question is, do you think they do that because they're bad doctors, or are they, motivated by profit, where, well, if you sell this drug, you make money?
No, they're just trained that way. I don't think they're bad people. I don't think they're thinking money.
Right. Evil. Yeah.
No. They're indoctrinated. Medical school is a trauma-based program on purpose. Like the hours, the amount of information, the testing schedule, the competition to outrank and fight each other for, number one, all the things. That's the nature of it. I just think it's designed that they have no time to question or research or anything. I think, listen, there's bad people everywhere.
Sure.
But no, I don't think the humans.
Most doctors, yeah.
Yes, I think they want to help people. They want to do the right thing. But your training and your programming come into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, like I'm in America.
Training and programming is designed by humans, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, but it's the system. Like there are some religions that teach you to cut the head off a chicken and eat it like that's a sacrifice. That's how they're trained. Some of us who aren't trained that way, we think that sounds crazy, but not to them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that's how they're trained. I don't think I'm friends with so many physicians. I mean, we talk all the time. I vacation with them. These are some of my best friends, but they've left kind of the traditional model of doing it, the symptom chasing, suppress only with a drug. That is not the way to get it done, but people have been trained that way. So yes, the consumer with all the drug ads, the pharmaceutical ads, they think that's normal. So that's why I do what I do on social media. It's why I do what I do with courses. It's why I am on stages and travel around to get to those people. Keith told me at 16, that's not normal. Don't take Tylenol. Stephanie, why? So he was pounding this in my head at 16, like, oh, so he was deprogramming me. Right. And it took 7 years, and he never quit. He never quit. And nor do I.
Yeah, that's very, that's deep. In the beginning of our interview today, you mentioned the big T and the little t. Can you jump into that a little bit, elaborate what you mean by that?
Yeah, so in the world of trauma, a lot of us, a lot of people, to the big T, they think, well, I haven't had any trauma. My life is good. I've had a lovely life, an incredible life. I'm okay. I don't need any help. There's nothing I need to clear, right? They don't really get it because they weren't raped. They weren't beaten, they weren't homeless, something like that.
Like
So,
nothing significant, you mean?
but they don't really recognize, a parent that, well, there's a lot of really successful parents who are alcoholics and are not present, or, they just weren't ever taken care of, paid attention to. Some parents are very, having a narcissistic parent, again, that's a very not common thing, but that's traumatizing. Me having a father in prison, I
Sure.
never considered that abnormal. I never considered that traumatic. I never wanted to do a boo-hoo, whiny story. People would bring this up like, well, like, I'm fine. Like, what are you talking about? I'm good. But when I go to unpack it, I'm like, well, that did leave a mark on my relationships, how I relate to men, how I feel I can trust someone. There's things there, right? That I'm like, oh, right. And then every part of the trauma my mother felt while she was pregnant with me was imprinted on me. Like when you're pregnant and the baby's in you, baby picks, there's no separation, but that's it. It's happening to you, it's happening to the baby.
Of course.
So I didn't, the imprint of abandonment on me is quite significant. I wasn't really able to acknowledge that until my 40s. So that's very, very common. I just give you an example. So people are like, well, my problem, like, it's not trauma because no one raped me. So they compare it to like, well, God, compared to what?
So that's what's defined as like the big T, like the trauma that's very obvious, like anybody can see and be like, sure.
Exactly.
Okay.
So there's lots of, all trauma is, we want to call it a thing. Trauma is a biological disorder. Trauma is a biological set point of overwhelm in the nervous system. It is also a mitochondrial disorder. It's when the nervous system and the mitochondria together say, I cannot handle this stress, and it collapses and it goes to a point in the body of less energy resources. It's physical. It isn't a mental thing at all. It's a physical, biological thing. There's biology of trauma. I teach entire courses and continuing education to doctors about it. And until you address the nervous system and the mitochondria to restore its charge in a person, they cannot recover from trauma. So trauma is biological. It is not psychological. That's the difference.
And do you think it's also passed on in generations?
There is everything is passed on. So there is a frequency within the DNA and the fascia. So a person that's really, really tight calcium shell. So if I'm inflexible, immobile, my water structure is not structured, and the DNA knows that, yes, it is passed on. Yeah.
Okay. And then do you believe trauma can be reversible? Can it be reversed? Like,
100%. 100%. It is simply a process that has not been completed. So it is an energy deficit. Step one, we must bring energy back into the system, restore the mitochondrial and the energetic charge, and memory is held within the water of the body, and that's within the fascial system. So the connective tissue and the fascia, we must restructure it. So if you handle the mitochondria, the nervous system, the fascia, and you let it move, then you allow the system to just complete the process it wasn't able to complete. It was halted. Every mammal has the exact same process of going through this. The only ones who stop it are humans and the animals we have as pets or we cage. So we all go through all mammals normally go through a process of actually tremoring and shaking to release it. And this is why I brought TRE, I'm certified in TRE, trauma releasing exercises, by David Berselli. It's incredible. So that's another technique I do, but I've seen it thousands of times. Everybody can do it. Neurofeedback is also extraordinary. So if it's so deep, if I have childhood, I have a lot of patients that have been like in sex cults and sex traded and all kinds of horrible things. The younger you are when some of these really horrific things happen, it becomes part of the structure and identity. And neurofeedback, deep states, hypnagogic, alpha theta is one of the best things I've ever used to clear that. I couple it with a talk therapist that uses DBT, and we can do in 6 months what takes other people 5 years to do. So I've always seen her. It's always capable. But the person must feel safe. We must manage the mitochondria. You have to restore their function. You must bring cellular charge, voltage back. Nobody in talk therapy does this. You must have the brain be able to hold a charge and hold capacity. And then you must move it out of the fascia.
And all of this is done without drugs, right? It's all physical exercises, mental exercises, etc.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Are there like any drugs at all that are ever recommended, in the extreme cases?
Yeah, I have come to work really, like, people can walk in on 8 psychiatric drugs and I can work with them. And there are a few things I really like that would be in the drug category or small molecule or peptide. So I use a lot of peptide therapy, a lot of small molecules. Some things have a prescription, some do not. I really love CBD, LDN, low dose naltrexone. I like lithium a lot. I like ketamine. These are things used in the right time, the right place, with the right person.
Of course.
And leveraged in the right amounts are extraordinary. Ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, methylene blue, extraordinary. Methylene blue is one of my favorite compounds. For mental health, I use a lot of Atomax, C-Link, C-Max. Those are peptides. For brain health, I think those are some of the basics. But drug-wise, I don't like any SSRIs, any SNRIs at all. There might be a small moment we may have to use lithium, Xanax or Valium. Like there are occasions that I have to tranquilize somebody who's violent or something like that. But lithium and LDN and CBD are extraordinary combinations for the right people. But I use a lot of nutrient therapy. So based on their lab testing and their specific genetic and biochemical individuality, we'll construct it. Like, so B6 and evening primrose oil and zinc are some of the biggest things that I use in practice for the brain. Believe it or not, most of these things are not that hard to correct, but you just have to run labs and be efficient and find the right dosing and track what's working. You got to be, on it. You have to test quickly and adjust real quickly till you find the sweet spot and bring the levels back and normalize neurotransmitter function.
So what's next? You're this successful doctor. You're doing great. You're helping patients, and I'm sure they're grateful. But what's next for you? Like, what do you see yourself as far as, your next 10, 20 years in life, and then what kind of legacy do you see yourself leaving behind?
I love that. So I just started a whole new business, and I used legacy in the name, actually. So I don't see myself stopping seeing patients. I'll see less. Sometimes people misinterpret that, like, "Oh, I know you hate seeing patients." And I said, no, I don't. I hate charting. I hate charting. Like, there's some things we all hate doing. And I don't want to do 8 and 12-hour days of it anymore. And I have multiple coaches and therapists that work for me, and I'm training them. So I would like to be better at mentoring and teaching other clinicians that want to learn to do what I've done and work with these. People don't like to work with the kind of patients I see. Like, I have the throwaway cases. I have the ones that everybody would say are too hard, or I didn't think they could even be helped. I'm like, what? So that's what I enjoy doing. So I would like to get better at helping more clinicians that come through. I train them, they sit in on my appointments, they watch what I do. I don't have a great system how I do it, but I train them how I do it. And I've trained quite a few clinicians. I've mentored many people and board certified many neurofeedback therapists. I'd like to get better at that. I have no plans to stop seeing people. If it changes one day, it'll change. I follow what I feel, and I'm going to listen to spirit telling me what to do. The next thing, though, that is coming, I'm launching a new book, and this is, I would like to talk about things besides labs and Lyme and autism and schizophrenia. I would like to talk about some of the more emotional, deeper spiritual things that I've been
Are
through.
you in the process of writing the book, or is it?
I'm publishing it right now. We are in
Okay.
pre-launch, so hopefully in about 6 to 7 weeks, I'll have a pre-sale link. So it by August or September, I don't know when this is going to air, but we'll be ready to go. So I have a website now with a wait list, and it's I would like so I'm seen as fire and aggressive, and I've been a fighter and a warrior,
Right.
and I've been very clinical and very left brain and very masculine in many ways, and I've needed to be, and I honor that, and I will never regret what I've needed to do. But what's happened in the last several years as I was coming into my 50s, 50 was a magical moment. I'm 52 right now, in 2025, and it's created such a relaxation in my system, a softness. Everything feels better. There's more pleasure and more sensuality and more sexuality and more femininity. And I don't see the softness and the surrender as weakness at all anymore. I embrace it so much. And I'm watching women that I've taken care of forever and still are coming to me. The strong woman who's over masculinized, who thinks she has to be a baddie or a boss bitch or all this other stuff. And I want to throw a flamethrower. I am strong. I am a leader. I understand that. I will fight for you like I'm fighting for my own child. However, make no mistake, when I'm with the people who I love around me, I'm a kitten. I'm not a lion.
Right.
And when I'm with someone that I love, I surrender to them, and I fall into the embrace, and I let myself be protected. I'm like, I'm tired. I can't be like that all the time. So a woman's nature is not to be the warrior. I don't want to carry a sword. I'm really a lover, not a fighter. So this book is called Receive, and and the subtitle, The Dance of Feminine Power. So I'm ready for people to see the side of me that I've hidden for 49 years, basically, because it wasn't safe for me to be soft. I had to use my fists. They didn't know how much of a poet and an artist I was. And I'm done hiding it, and I want to stop compartmentalizing myself. So I would like the future, I'm hoping from 50 to 70 is a whole new era of the soft side of me, not Dr. Rimka, but Stephanie,
Right.
and that I can teach what I have figured out to maybe help some other little girls or young women. Please don't do what I did. It's exhausting. And if I can help you shortcut some of this, I would love to. It took me 6 years to figure out Instagram. If I could help you in 6 weeks, wouldn't that be great? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the same thing. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the surrender and the softness.
Do you regret being tough?
No, not at all. I am grateful for the incredible
You don't
masculine.
think there's part of you that feels I shouldn't have been that person for
No,
that long? No.
absolutely not. I would be dead or in prison if I wasn't able. Yeah. No, I'm grateful.
So
I'm
the
not.
way you described your book, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
That's
The way you described your book and what you're trying to, accomplish in the next couple of decades in your life feels a little, I want to say, against the feminist movement, doesn't it? Like when
Yeah.
we hear the word feminist, it's very, women power, right to equality. But the way you described it is, it's like, I can be soft and yet powerful. We don't hear that
Yeah.
by modern women, I'd say. I mean,
Right.
don't kill me. I get it.
No, I
There's
get.
incredible, beautiful women that want to just take care of their family. But then the word feminist is more used or more aligned with, well, equal rights. That, like you said, boss, or it's just, I'm really excited about the book. I didn't know it was coming, so that's
Yeah,
news to
I
me.
want you and your wife to read it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's going to be fun.
it's this balance of what I wrote it in response to my irritation around watching a lot of women I know feel like they're embracing what they call the divine feminine. And what I noticed in watching all of them was that it was this underpinning hatred for the masculine, though. It was still a war. It was still a battle. Like, we're better than you. Like, that's not
Right.
what this is about. Like, we are not equal. Here's the reality. We're not equal. We're not the same. Like, this isn't an equality issue. We're not the same. Like,
Exactly.
this is the reality. Men are fire. I am water. We're not the same. Stop trying to make us the same. Can we stop trying to compare each other? Nobody compares water to fire. They're not the same. They do different things. You need them both. So I write it in such a way, I get rid of the story around the divine feminine, divine masculine. Everybody's like, oh, it's the divine with the divine feminine. Listen, no, we shouldn't be beaten. We shouldn't be thrown in the garbage. We shouldn't be not able to vote and have a say in anything. Of course not. There's some basic human rights that we need. You shouldn't be doing that because you're, Black Indian or Indian either. Like this, let's get real with this. However, the extreme part of what was created in that movement was really about making women so independent they could just become another income taxable source, and children were left at home. And it's like being a mother was something to not be valued, and marriages were ripped apart. And so women are out alone trying to do everything, and it's exhausting. And men feel lost because this is what we've gotten wrong, and I write about it in the book. Women are not the givers, men are. The masculine is the giver. The masculine is actually obedient. In a healthy relationship, the masculine obeys the feminine. Show me any great marriage, and the masculine always the feminine. Yes. So we have the left and right hemisphere of the brain. The left is the masculine, the right is the feminine, right? So it's written right into our biology how this happens, and it plays out here. The right hemisphere is where the voice of spirit. The right hemisphere is where all of connection to God source. So the feminine is intuition, listening to the higher self, the spirit guides, God, Allah, pick Jehovah, pick a name. I don't care. That is where the knowing comes from. In any mammal pack, any other mammal pack on Earth, it's been studied by everyone. The U.S. military has studied this ad nauseum because they want to really figure it out for the military. Let's say a wolf pack. You just left. I'm going to wait. I'm going to see what happened. Okay.
I'm not sure what happened.
I don't know, but you good?
I'm good. It just, the whole thing disappeared. I was like, wait. And I'm not even touching my computer. Anyway.
It was recording. I'll go. So in any other pack, right? So let's go with a wolf pack. There's an alpha male and an alpha female. There is never one alpha, because if you have an alpha male without the female, she's actually protecting him. She's putting the pack in check. The beta males will rise up, and there will be a battle, and somebody's going to try to kill him. She's always putting it in check. Let's say he dies in a battle. Let's say he dies doing something in an accident.
Okay.
How does the next alpha male get picked? By the alpha female. She subdues. She physically takes down a beta male, and in that process changes his entire neurology. So there's a neurotransmitter of the dopamine, serotonin levels that must change really quickly in the alpha. They know exactly the alpha and the betas are not the same. She picks the next alpha. Make no mistake. She's in charge. And let's say, so now that's one example, but we have the alpha and the alpha male and female wolf pack. This is how it is for all the mammals. I'm just giving the example.
Right.
When they're deciding, do we leave? Do we hunt? Do we go left? Do we go, north, west, south? What do we do? She always he looks to her, honey, what do we do? She decides, he enforces.
Got it.
He knows he's obedient to the feminine because the feminine has the highest connection to intuition, sense of self. The masculine is linear. This. Now, you tell the man, this is what it's like in a healthy marriage. Let me give you an example. So I'm at the pool. My husband comes over. My kid's been doing something over there. And this is, let's say for a real life story. And all I do is go, I need to tell you something. That guy, he disrespected our son.
Right.
The obedient husband, he doesn't ask us which one.
Yeah, he doesn't question.
Correct. Because he's obedient.
So
he's her. And it's like if she says, get him, he's getting him. That's all that he needs to know because he trusts his wife. He trusts, she knows what to do and he will do it. She also trusts him to defend, protect, and provide. So she must receive that from him. He must receive from her. It's a beautiful partnership that they harmonize each other.
My question is, why do men have so much trouble? I don't want to say admitting that, but even subscribing to that thought that men can be, obedient. It's just not a common thing you hear a man say. Like
that's why I say it. So the common term right now that's being used is dominant male and submissive female, and that is turning women off. So I wrote it in such a way. I just changed the words to make her more comfortable. I'm not really uncomfortable with those words. So an alpha is never uncomfortable with those concepts. So an alpha male, he totally gets it. He's like, I know, my wife's totally in charge. She's the boss.
Right.
Alpha is really clear. I'm kidding. She's the boss. I just do what she says. Now this dude understands though, and let somebody try to disrespect my wife or my kids, I'm gonna kill him so quick. But that guy's quiet. He's subtle. He's not like an alpha is a very different beast. There's not as many of them right now because they're unhealthy. They're biochemically, hormonally not well. So they're not capable of doing it right now. Like I do feel bad for men. And I'm the mother of a man. So I have a 19-year-old son. When I realized that when he was 9.5, and it was right here. I looked up, I'm like, oh my God, I'm raising a man. Like he's going to be a man. Oh my God. Like I got to do this differently because he's going to be a man. Like he's going to have sex with, like, oh my God. Like, he's not a little baby, So it changed my talking and my language to let him know there's expectations on you and you better prepare and you better train for them because one day you will be bigger and stronger than me. You better be able to throw me over your shoulder and get me out of this house if it's burning. Right. That's your job. So, and my son is getting jacked in the gym every day, like to this day. So I'm just saying, like, unless you tell them that, like, women have suppressed the masculine's ability to be strong because they've been afraid of it, because they've seen so many unhealthy versions of it that they have confused with the healthy masculine. And the healthy masculine is the giver. Right. He gives endlessly. He gives his life for us. Police, military, firefighters. These are traditionally masculine jobs. These guys will jump in front of a bullet. You come in, if somebody came into your house, you're married, right?
Of course.
Do you have kids?
I have a 9-year-old boy.
Great. If somebody came into your house with a gun and they said, they're looking, it's pretty much always the man who's like,
I'm not asking my wife to go.
Oh, whatever you need to do, take me. Let them go. No woman is jumping up to say, take me, let my husband go. No, that's not what happens. This is why
I just wish women, I just wish women in these feminist movement addressed it, right? Like I'm all for equality.
I know, because it's a sign of weakness. It is not. We are different. I
Yeah,
am
we're different. I think
feminine,
that's the best.
magnificent. We bring all life. I magnify and amplify. I took one cell and made a whole human being. You can't do that.
Right.
But I need you to make sure I'm safe. I need you to guard the perimeter. I need you to get me food so I can make food for the baby.
Right.
You know, like I need that from you. Like we serve each other. Like, but they've demonized motherhood and staying home and breastfeeding and cooking and cleaning, like as if this is
Yeah.
not important. That's a cultural problem. And that's where the feminist movement has been like, you have no value if you're not making money, which is
Right.
bullshit. Yeah.
Well, going back to, the trauma and brain fog and depression, is there a quick tip you have for, I don't want to say kids, but well, they are kids, like teenagers, young girls, because a lot of them go through a lot and it's very fast at that age. Without seeing a doctor, without seeing a chiropractor, is there like a quick couple of things that, that might help instantly?
Well, gosh, that's a good question. Teenage girls. My number one suggestion, which would be hard, would be get off social media.
Yeah.
All social media, all of it. There is this the information and the study. What it does to the brain is horrific. You know what it does to dopamine addiction, outrageous.
Right.
Desensitization for a number of reasons, and then the comparison, the fake filters, and it's unbelievable. So the depression and suicidal risk for the number of time you spend on social media is awful. And so getting off social media, it would be number one, which then leaves time to reconnect with nature, your friends, community, and going outside. And just the more they start connecting with nature, the earth, the sky, the wind, the birds.
Yeah.
Water,
There's a very famous meme in trading and crypto industry. It's called "Go Touch Grass." So basically, what that means is just go outside and touch grass, right? Like
the crypto industry.
Yeah, like crypto and stock market. They all, because everybody's hooked on to their computers, right?
Yeah.
It's like the meme is, well, if you just put everything away and just go touch grass, that might help, right? Yeah.
It is extraordinary.
Great.
Go to the beach, get in the sun. Like they need to get outside and be around humans and get away from a screen.
Right. Well, especially now with summer's here, right? Such a beautiful day every day. Quick fire round. I'm going to have a few questions for you. Okay. I'm going to throw them, just answer what comes to your mind. There's no explanation needed. I just want to see what comes to your brain instantly.
Okay.
So what's one myth you thought you wish people stop believing when it comes to mental health?
One myth?
Yes.
Oh, God. I mean, that any of the psychiatric drugs work.
Yeah. Okay. What's one supplement you never skip? It's like every day you have to have it.
Hydrogen water.
Okay. Your favorite book?
Mark Manson, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
I love that book. I've read it. Yeah. Is there another in the medical industry or a book that changed like how you heal people, you see your patients?
I would say Deepak Chopra's books back 20 some years ago and Bruce Lipton's books, Biology of Belief. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Oh, Candace Pert, Molecules of Emotion. Unbelievable. That was
okay. I will check that out.
Probably the best. Yeah.
Cool. What is one health fad that drives you crazy?
Health fad?
Yeah.
Veganism. Vegan.
Okay. Yeah, it reminds me. My son, who's 9 years old, he comes home and sends me this Instagram reel from his mom's phone. He's like, "You have to watch it." It's like, sure. This little 6-year-old kid goes, "A vegan and a vegetarian jumps off the cliff. Who wins?" And everybody watches this, waiting, and he says, "The society."
Yeah, that was a funny one.
That's funny. Yeah. What is one motto that guides your entire life?
One model that what?
Yeah, like one thing that you swear by. This is how you live your life. Like you know,
My mantra that everything is happening in my highest and best interest.
yeah, you believe
Everything.
that?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, great. Oh, this was amazing. I've learned so much about you and other things. Thank you for doing this. Is there anything else you want to share?
Probably not. Thank you for doing what you do. I mean, it's YouTube and social media, the stuff is not easy, and we can actually take a lot of heat at times for, trying to educate people. So I love that you are using your platform to try and help people know that there's other options. I guess it's what I would like to say. Like, I can never compete with Pfizer or
Right.
Eli Lilly and run commercials. Like, it's all word of mouth, and social media is this free way that people like me can educate people to know that your body was created with divine wisdom, and the power that made the body heals the body. And you don't actually need any drugs to get it done. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just usually full of some poison and not having enough nutrients it needs. And once we balance that, it knows exactly what to do. So if we just give it a chance, you're brilliant. You were built by design. The same power that made you from one cell in your mother is still existing. I can cut you with a knife and it knows how to heal. You
Just
don't have to tell
heals.
it what to do. Like, we are that brilliant. And if people would remember that, I think they would have more reverence for themselves, and they would. My job at this point in my career, when you said the next 20 years, I would just like to help people learn to love themselves and treat themselves like a magnificent work of art, And if I can do that, what a difference I'll make, like the compound effect out there. So remember that. Treat yourself the way you want other people to treat you.
Awesome. I'm
That's that.
gonna put all your social media in the description below in this video. But your upcoming book, you said there's a website ready?
Yeah. So right now it's called yoursoulbeautiful.com. And that's where we are capturing emails right now. And I'm looking for a whole team that is going to give me my first review, the first 100 people that'll get the preview book.
Brilliant. Love it. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.
You too.